don't do maybe. I don't have time for it. Maybe is a variable, and variables are liabilities. My job is to eliminate them. My name is Leah. I'm 48 years old, and I run the entire human resources division for a company that's probably on your phone right now. I got here by being smarter, faster, and more logical than everyone else trying to climb the same ladder. My whole job is making the hard decisions. Restructuring, downsizing, reallocating assets, whatever sterile name we put on it, it all boils down to the same thing. I'm the one who decides who stays and who goes. I'm the one who looks at the data, identifies the redundancies, and executes the plan. And I am very, very good at my job. My life is built on lists, on forecasts, on control. My inbox is always at 0. My desk is clear of everything but the monitor I'm using. My schedule is blocked in 15-minute increments. I have no patience for weakness in myself or in others. If you can't perform, you're a liability. That's not cruel, it's just a fact. It's math. Right now, I'm steering the biggest merger of my career. It's a mountain of work, easily 18-hour days, and I've never felt more alive. This is my battlefield. I'm in the trenches with spreadsheets, org charts, and P&L statements. Every detail, every redundancy, every single employee file has to pass through me. It has to be perfect, because if it's not, well, that's just not an option. I wasn't always this rigid. I was always driven, but there was a time, maybe 20 years ago, when I was still new, still climbing. I was managing a payroll system integration. Simple stuff, should have been a slam dunk. And I messed it up. I don't mean a small oops. I mean a catastrophic, system-wide failure, the kind they name things after. Hundreds of people didn't get paid. The wrong people got severance packages. The right people got termination notices. It was a complete and total train wreck, and my name was on it. I can still feel that boardroom, the silence, the way the executives looked at me. Not with anger, which I could have handled. Anger is an emotional response. You can counter it with logic. No, this was pity. Like I was a broken cog, a miscalculation, useless, incompetent. In that one moment, I saw my entire future just evaporate. I was the very thing I despised, a weak link, a failure. I swore right then that I would never be that person again. Never. I clawed my way back, inch by inch. I built a fortress of competence around myself. Every promotion, every bonus, every single time I had to sit across from some underperformer and tell them they weren't a good fit, it was just me putting another brick in that wall. Every person I fired was me firing that old, weak version of myself. Because I know what happens when the wall comes down. I know exactly what it feels like to be the liability. That's the one thing in this world that truly scares me. Losing control. Becoming weak. This merger was my masterpiece. I was 2 weeks into the final integration, working at a level of efficiency I hadn't hit in years. I was in the zone. My mind was sharp, the numbers were clean, the decisions were easy. It happened on a Tuesday, 9 p.m. I was the last one on my floor, just grabbing the final stack of personnel reports from the printer room to review at home. The printer room is all white marble. It's ridiculous, but it looks good for investors. I was walking fast, thinking 3 steps ahead about a call I had with the Tokyo branch. I didn't see the cleaning crew's mop bucket Or maybe I saw it in my brain moving too fast, just classified it as an irrelevant obstacle. 1 second, I was at the top of my game. The next, I was airborne. My briefcase went one way, the files, my perfectly collated redundancy reports, exploded like confetti, and I went the other. My head hit the marble floor. It wasn't a bang, it was a thud, a deep, wet, final sound. I remember a flash of white, then just silence. A thick, syrupy silence that felt like it was pressing in on me. The ceiling lights looked blurry, like smeared yellow paint. I could smell the lemony floor cleaner. A cleaner was kneeling over me, panicked, talking in Spanish. "Señora, señora!" He was touching my shoulder. I hate being touched. I tried to sit up and say, "Estoy bien," or "I'm fine," but the room just tilted sideways. I couldn't seem to make my tongue form the words. I spent 6 hours in the ER, 6 hours of my life wasted, sitting in a curtained cubicle that smelled like antiseptic, listening to some tired-looking resident use words like severe concussion. He said observation. He said rest for a minimum of 2 weeks. 2 weeks? I almost laughed. Rest is for people who aren't essential. I told them I had a merger to run. I told them I felt fine. I signed the AMA paperwork, which was just another inefficient bureaucratic layer. I had an ANCAP take me home. I took 2 painkillers, slept for exactly 4 hours, and was back at my desk by 7 a.m. the next morning. I had a deadline. A little knock on the head wasn't going to stop me. That would be weak. I had a fortress to maintain, and this was just a hairline crack. That first day back was fuzzy. The headache was bad, like a metal band tightening around my skull. But I've worked through migraines before. This was different. This wasn't just pain. This was static, like a bad radio signal in my brain. I was in my office, door closed, staring at the master redundancy spreadsheet. This was my document. I built it. It listed all 4,000 employees across 2 companies, their roles, their salaries, their performance scores. My job was to scroll down and mark the red lines, the cuts. I've done this 100 times. It's just data. But I couldn't. I stared at the name Robert Miller, and the letters, they just vibrated. They seemed to float off the screen like tiny black insects. I blinked hard, and they settled, but they were in the wrong order. Rebort Milra. I felt a cold sweat prickle my neck. I closed my eyes, counted to 5, and looked again. Robert Miller. It was fine, just a trick of the light. I was just tired. I tried to focus. I looked at the column next to his name. A salary. $94,000. No, $49,000. I zoomed in. The numbers seemed to ripple, to melt into each other. The 9 and the 4 were swapping places. I gripped the edge of my desk. "Get it together, Leah," I whispered. I tried to type an email to my assistant. "Please bring me the latest P&L reports." I looked at what I'd typed. "Please bribbed me the latest P&L reports." My fingers, they felt thick, like I was wearing gloves. I couldn't make them hit the right keys. I, who can type 120 words a minute, stared at the gibberish on my screen. This wasn't a typo. This was a system failure. My system. For the first time in 20 years, I felt that ice-cold dread. The kind that starts in your stomach and freezes you from the inside out. This wasn't a lack of sleep. This was wrong. I tried to fix it. My investigation was just brute force. I blamed the painkillers. I threw them out. I blamed the screen. I switched to hard copies. But the words on the paper seemed to squirm, just slightly, if I looked at them too long. I blamed the stress. I meditated for 5 minutes in my office, which felt ridiculous. I was just compensating, covering. I delegated simple tasks I should have done myself. I told my assistant to proof and send my emails, claiming I was too high level to be caught in the weeds. I sat in on a video call with the Tokyo team, and their words just slid past me. It was just noise. I nodded, said, "Great point, let's circle back on the deliverables," and ended the call. I was faking it. And every faked email, every "let's circle back" in a meeting where I hadn't understood a single word, I felt the wall cracking. I was the underperformer. I was the liability, hiding in plain sight. The point of no return came 48 hours after the fall. The big one. The final merger synergy meeting with the executive board and the new CEO. I was walking them through the final downsizing phase. I had it all memorized. I had to. Reading my own notes had become unreliable. I was standing at the head of the long, polished mahogany table. The room was cold. I felt okay. I felt in control. The memorization was holding. The new CEO, a shark named Harrison, stopped me. He held up a hand. "Leah, good work. Just confirm for me the severance cost for the entire C-suite redundancy, the final number. We need it for the press release." It was a simple question, a number I had calculated myself. I knew it like my own birthday. $7.2 million. I opened my mouth, and nothing. Just white noise, a blank, humming void where the number should have been. I stared at him. He stared back. The whole room was silent. I could hear the HVAC system. I could feel their eyes. That look. Not anger, not yet. It was confusion. It was pity. The look. The same look from 20 years ago. The broken cog look. "Leah?" Harrison prompted, his voice a little sharper. I tried again. I could feel the word in my head. 7. It started with 7, but I couldn't get it out. My tongue felt too big for my mouth, thick and useless. I stammered. I looked down at my notes. The page was just a blur of black lines. It looked like a barcode. The words and numbers I had typed myself were just shapes. I looked up. The pity was gone. Harrison was looking at me like I was a broken cog, like I was a liability. And in that moment, I knew. The thing I'd been running from for 20 years, it wasn't behind me anymore. It was in my head. It was me. After that meeting, I was a ghost. Harrison didn't yell. He just looked at me with that clinical assessment. He said, "Leah, go home. We'll talk tomorrow." Going home felt like failure. I stayed. I worked until 2 a.m., just sitting in my office, trying to brute force my brain into working. The screen just laughed at me. The next morning, one email sat in my inbox from Harrison. 9 a.m. "Leah, I need you to validate the final executive severance list. This is the top line press release number. Just a final sign-off, needed by 10 a.m. It was a test, a simple one, a task a junior associate could do in 20 minutes. He was checking if the system was still operational. He was giving me one last chance to not be a liability. I locked my office door, I turned off my phone, I drank a black coffee so strong it tasted like battery acid. "You are in control," I whispered. I opened the file. It was just 10 names and 10 numbers. But the fluorescent light overhead, it wasn't just bright, it was buzzing, a high, thin, physical sound that felt like it was drilling into my skull. I looked at the screen. The first number, 1,450,000. I blinked. It was 14,500,000. I blinked again. $1,400. The numbers were coming apart. The commas were floating. The zeros were expanding and shrinking. I felt the metallic taste of pure panic flood my mouth. I tried to grip the mouse, but my hand was shaking. The room felt like it was tilting, like I was on a boat. I squeezed my eyes shut, just trying to make the world stop spinning. When I opened them, the file was gone. I mean, it was on the screen, but my brain couldn't read it. It was just a meaningless smear of black on white. The buzzing in my head got louder, drowning out my own thoughts. I couldn't remember the task. I couldn't remember why I was looking at the screen. There was a knock. Harrison. He just opened the door. "Leah, the list?" I looked at him. I knew his face, but his name was gone. I tried to say 1 minute. What came out was a dry, rasping groan. I stammered. I pointed at the screen. It's wrong." "What's wrong?" he asked, his voice sharp. "It's moving," I shouted. I didn't mean to. The words just fell out. I sounded insane. He didn't look angry. He didn't look concerned. He looked done. He was assessing a broken asset. He was doing my job. "Leah," he said, his voice terrifyingly calm, "I'm having Frank from security escort you downstairs. We're placing you on indefinite medical leave. HR will be in touch about the transition." He didn't say I was fired. He used the sterile language I had written myself. This was the process. I was the process. The walk to the elevator with Frank, the security guard, holding my elbow was the loudest silence I've ever known. Everyone was watching. No one was whispering. They just stared. I was the broken cog. I was the underperformer. They didn't even let me take my briefcase. A cab dropped me at my condo. I don't remember the ride. I'm sitting here now. It's 11 a.m. My apartment is silent. It's always been quiet. I designed it that way. No clutter, no noise, no distractions. But this is different. This is a dead, empty, finished silence. My corporate phone isn't here. My laptop is back at the office. My building access key is gone. My entire identity, the Leah who ran a whole division, the woman who was a force of nature, she just ceased to exist. She was terminated. I'm here. I'm breathing. But I am gone. I'm just this confused, tired woman in an expensive, minimalist box. I keep thinking about that mistake all those years ago, how terrified I was of being seen as weak. I spent my entire life building a fortress of competence around myself just to make sure no one could ever call me that again. I built it so high and so thick, I never thought anything could get in. And the one thing I never planned for was a traitor on the inside, a fall, a few damaged cells, a patch of lead marble. The horror isn't a monster. the horror isn't a ghost. The horror is this. It's looking at my own hand on the sofa and not knowing what to do with it. It's knowing with absolute certainty that I have become the very thing I despised. I am the liability. I am the redundancy. I am the person I would have fired, clinically and without a second thought. There's no one to fight. There's nothing to fix. The error wasn't in the spreadsheet. It's in me.
Did that story make your skin crawl? That's just a taste of what's lurking. Show your support by liking and subscribing. We're all in this together to survive the next spine-chilling story.